All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Racers News Network Live. We are live with Jerron Settles, Sean Lanigan, and the always popular Taylor Nobile is here too. What's going on, everybody? Obviously, Taylor, let's start out with you. Tell the world how getting ready to be a mom is going.
It's going. So we have possibly 4 weeks left. They said I might go 2 weeks early, maybe a week early, but they really never truly know. So if it's 2 weeks early, I'm looking at 4 weeks until I become a mom. So Vincent and I are really excited. And this last month, I feel like it's gone so slow. It was like, wow, she's coming. And now it's like, okay, when is she just going to be here? We just want to have her in our arms and want her to get into junior dragsters as fast as possible.
Awesome. Say, Jerron, so how you been, buddy? I haven't seen you in like 6 months.
Been good. Just it's been a busy year for me with racing and working. I've had a ton of work this year, a ton of jobs to do, and I apologize for not having time for you guys. I've missed coming on and chatting with you, but yeah, it's just been a busy summer. I was hoping that Taylor was going to say he's coming in or she's coming in a few weeks because my birthday is August 14th. Hopefully, I was hoping she'd be a Leo baby, but it sounds like she's going to just miss being a Leo.
She's going to be close. Jackie and Sean have a bet that she's coming during Indy because everybody's going to be there.
Yeah.
So they said she'll mess up the Jegs All-Star plans. So, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
All right, well, very cool. Like I said, we have our special guest, who's the winner from this past weekend on Saturday at the Mid-Atlantic .90 Association. We're going to be talking with Sean about his weekend at ATCO in just a few minutes. But what's going on, Sean, for right now? How you doing, buddy?
Just hanging in there, coming down off the high from the weekend. I really didn't get any rest. I went right to work, and now I'm at the hockey rink. So it's nonstop.
Very cool. Well, like I said, we're going to be talking to Sean in just a few minutes, but we want to jump back up to Taylor because she has some points for us from both the national and the divisional Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series. And then we're going to get to the results after we talk to Sean. But Taylor's got a book out. She's got something to take care of. So, Taylor, why don't you go ahead and kick it off with the points from this year so far?
All right. So this weekend, I feel like there was a big jump in a bunch of the points. It's also, I mean, the more and more races we get going, the shaking up of the points that there are. But starting with Top Alcohol Dragster and Top Alcohol Funny Car, I'm just going to do the top 5 for those. So Joey Severance is number 1. Matt Cummings is number 2. A pretty cool chick named Jackie Frick is number 3, coming off of her 7th national event win in Seattle. Julie Natas is 4 and Jasmine Salinas is 5. For Top Alcohol Funny Car, Doug Gordon, Shane Westerfield, DJ Cox, Nick Janowick, and Sean Bellamere. In Competition Eliminator, we have Greg Camplain in number 1, David Eaton, Joe Maziris, Ryan Pretty, Chase Williams, Cody Lane, Adam Hickey, Santo Volpe, Jeff Taylor, and Scott Linder. In Super Stock, we have Ryan McClenahan, Brian Warner, got to get that right, can't get them mixed up, Brian Warner, Jimmy DeFrank, Greg Stanfield, Larry McClenahan, Joe Lisa, Pete Diagnolo, Scott Burton, Herbie Knoll, and Justin Lamb. In Stock, number 1, we have Brad Burton, Justin Jerome, Jody Lang, Ryan McClenahan, Mike Cotton, Joe Santangelo, Jeff Lopez, Scott Burton, Leo Glassbrenner, and Joe Sorensen, maybe?
Sorensen,
okay. Yeah, I'm going to butcher some names on here because that's not my thing. In Super Comp, the second coolest class that's offered in NHRA, James Glenn is number 1. The killer Johnny Labuse, who is never not in a winner's circle nowadays. Todd McCann is 3. Dan Foley is 4. Allison McCoon is 5. Sherman Ancock is 6. Dylan Haug is 7. Michael Holcomb is 8. Madison Payne is 9. And Devin Eisenhower is 10. Top dragster, Tom Bear, who is killing it this year, I feel like, is number 1. Brianna Weens is 2. Dylan Haug again, 3. Wayne Landry, 4. Al Miller, 5. Aaron Stanfield, 6. Blake
Peebler.
Peebler, good job. Thanks, Jerome. You just helped me with all this. Zach Sackman, and then a tie for 9 and 10 was Taylor Vetter and Kevin Wright. Super Gas, Luke Bagacki, number 1. Mike Bodner, number 2. Mark Yeager, number 3. Johnny Labuse, number 4. Frank Attilio, Austin Williams, Jim Perry, Rusty Cook, Val Torres, and Wade Archer. And then the final class is top sportsman. Number 1, Don Mazier. Number 2, Ed Olpen. Number 3, Lance Abbott. Number 4, Richard Okerman. Number 5, Vince Huda. Number 6, Alan Firestone. Number 7, Fast Freddie Perkins. Number 8, Ted Kellner. Number 9, Brian War. And number 10, Paul Mitzos.
I just got to jump in there and say for Super Gas, she said number 2 is Mike Bodner, and it's Mike Boehner.
Boehner?
Yeah.
They say it, they announce it Mike Bodner every time.
Yeah, it's Boehner, yeah.
Okay.
Well, Mike Bodner's from D1 up.
Well, yeah, he's my friend, but they always say the same thing.
Yeah, Boehner is out in D7. But he's number 2 for Boehner.
I literally repeat them how Alan Reinhart announces them because I hear them all the time.
Yeah.
Taylor, you just made my head go from like this to this. He's like, yep, I'm number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's, like you said, there's a couple of drivers this year that are just having phenomenal years. Bayer being one of them.
Yeah.
And obviously Jackie's having a great year. And comp is going to be a tight championship battle. Super comp, it's pretty much between James Glenn and Labuse, pretty much.
Yeah.
Those two have just taken off with it. It's nuts, but it's going to be a great year, and can't wait for Indy and the All-Stars and all that's going to be good.
I always find it crazy. Like you go to different divisions, like races that are taking place in those divisions. And like the Western Swing, for example, you see people get into like a little bit of a rhythm, and then all of a sudden they just appear out of nowhere on the points.
Yeah.
And then they'll go away for a little bit when they come back to the Northeast and they're not there. And then they start running again. And it's like, you never really know nationally who's there and who's not, with it being so far away in distance. So I always think that's really cool.
With me, I live in Division I, but I actually claim D7. And for us, it kind of sucks in the beginning because we start before everybody else. So had you read those points back in like March, I was like 9th. And
Yeah.
when the rest of the country caught up with us, now I moved to like 20 something. But yeah, it's crazy. And I think Division 4 is done already with their points. And I think 1 still has 4 or 5 races, or 4. I think nobody has more than 4 races left, but there's some divisions that only have 1 left. We still have 3. So it's still a long way to go. But there's some guys that have distanced themselves from the pack for sure.
I'm sitting here mumbling to myself. Sorry. Division I has 3 divisionals left, I think.
I think
Got
4.
ADCO, New England, Virginia.
Well, it's a double. Virginia's a double, isn't it still?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. I know we still have most. I know there are 5 still, or 3 still has 4 left, and because they get a late start from everybody, but we get an early start. Our last division race was in April, and our next one isn't until October. So we get a big long break to like sit and watch everybody catch up with us and go around us.
I just looked. I don't think Virginia is a double this year. It always has been, but I don't think it is this year.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's just 3 left. Then okay, gotcha. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Sean, do you get into the Lucas stuff, or do you just run Keister's deal?
So primarily, I just usually did Rob's .90.
Gotcha.
The last couple of years, I've been getting into some of the divisionals, mostly close to home. So I'll do like ACO, I'll do Diesel, Maple Grove. I don't really travel too much with work and stuff. I use my days for stuff that local.
For sure, yeah. How much are you missing the driver's seat, Taylor?
I always say my answer to this question is I'm so blessed to be having a baby, but
Yeah.
the hardest part of pregnancy, which I'm really thankful for, is not driving, because my pregnancy has been like smooth sailing, haven't gotten many of like the typical symptoms of a pregnancy. So I'd say that's the hardest part about it. So I'm pretty thankful.
That's good.
I
That's
think
good.
most of the people in your class are thankful that you're pregnant as well.
Yeah. Can you get Sean pregnant? Because I know he owes me one in Indy.
I'm not really sure that could happen, but I'll ask him if he could try.
So Taylor, why don't you announce the top alcohol dragster winner from this past weekend at the Northwest Nationals? And then I know there's somebody special who won Super Comp at ADCO at the Mid-Atlantic .90 Association race. So why don't you hit those, and then you can go have some dinner with your family.
Yeah, so this weekend was very good from West Coast to East Coast. So Jackie Frick, my aunt, was able to pick up the win in Seattle, which really made a jump in the points for her, because she had kind of taken the beginning of the year and didn't really race much. They weren't running really great, is what I could just say. So they decided to test and make sure they were good to go before they started running national events. And this weekend, she was able to pick up the win. 2 weeks ago in Woodburn, she runnered up in both of those races. So she's really doing well. And she was able to pick up her 7th national event win, which is pretty impressive. 1 is impressive, so 7 is definitely impressive. And then my dad, which was so awesome, I wish I was there, but he was able to pick up the win at the .90 race with Sean, same day as Sean. And that was his first win in probably 12 or 13 years. He took off our entire junior career. He took off racing so that we could have the best chance to win. And he really focused on us because it was so much to do both. And he had won 2 top 8 races, but he kept saying, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. I need to win a race. So in his short little season that he's having this year, he was able to pick up the win on Saturday, which was awesome, because he really only has 3 more races left until Tori's back in the dragster and I'm back in the truck, and then he's out of the driver's seat again.
Very cool. Well, congratulations to everybody in your family. I mean,
Thank you.
so, like I said, I know you got something you got to go take care of, but I
Yes.
wanted to let you do that. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, and good luck, Jerron, in the rest of your season, and same with you, Sean.
Thanks.
Thank you. We'll see you.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor, we'll talk to you.
Bye, Chris.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Taylor Nobile, legendary. We always should start calling her the legendary Taylor Nobile, because like I said, I think she's more popular than most of the pro drivers.
Absolutely.
So Sean, you had
Yes,
a good weekend. You had a started out really good and finished okay. I mean, nothing too bad to complain about, right?
No, it wasn't. This whole year has been nothing but trial and tribulations. From last year, everything is new motor, new trans, new converter. So trying to find out the right combo to get everything working took a little longer than normal. But now that I got it, it was flawless all weekend. I won the race on Saturday, got beaten the semis on Sunday. So I can't complain. I got no gripes here. I'm just looking forward to this weekend. We got the divisional at ACO, and then a week off to recuperate, and then back at Cecil for the next .90 race.
So Rose, one of my favorites.
Yep.
Over the weekend, especially like on the winning race, we all have that one round that we're like, glad I got by that one. Did you have one of those?
So I would say all 5 of mine were that way. The first round, I had a guy that ran 94 miles an hour. So me going 154, wow. I mean, that's a challenge itself. Second round, I had Dave Harvey Jr., who is, if you know ACO, you know Dave. Sure. Dave, everything.
Yeah.
That was a challenge. And then, of course, third round, I got Don Bergese, who's the past champion. Sean Lang. who is an up and comer, just like me. We came up pretty much together. Who was
Sure.
even on his worst day, he's still 00 and dead on. And
Yeah.
then I Kelly Barbado in the final, which we all know Kelly. Kelly's right there too. It was a tough one. So I would say all of them were probably just about the same. But I wouldn't want it any other way. I mean, if you can't earn it, it's not worth going.
Absolutely. You have a very cool car, very pretty color car too. Obviously, I'm going to notice the color. But what's how long you had the car? What's the story behind it?
So my dad bought that car in I want to say probably the early 80s. He drove it all through the 80s and super gas. I started driving it, I want to say probably about 15 years ago. And it used to be all different colors, stickered everywhere, names on the window. Then he decided to get it painted, which is an awesome paint job. It's actually the same. It's a Le Mans orange, which is a Nissan 370Z color.
Yeah.
Work for Nissan, so I know the color. And it's been, so probably since the 80s, it's been in our family. He drove it. I still tell him he can get in there and drive it if he wants, because he still thinks he can go 00 on a tree, and I bet him all the time. But it's a good car. I mean, I'm blessed to be able to drive it. He took care of it. He taught me everything I know pretty much between him and everybody else. So I wouldn't change anything.
It's small block, big block?
It's a little baby 632.
A baby 632. I like that. I haven't heard that quite put that way before, but okay, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it's one of Ronnie Regal's motors. So if you know Ronnie on the Top Sportsman, it's one of his motors.
I got you. What will it run flat out? Have you ever made a pass with it flat out?
I haven't run it flat out. Dean Nickerson, who actually did the carburetor and all, said it'll probably go low 8s.
Okay.
It's a heavy car. It's 3,300 pounds.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah, it's a big one. But I never have any number. I'm always on the number. I don't have any problem dialing it. So it's that whole thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
There you go. Yeah, cool.
Sean, how about the people and the sponsors that help you out?
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, first, I got to thank Rob Keister and Dana for what they do for our series. And then being on the East Coast, for us, we're blessed to have them because it gives us a chance to get out and race and not have to travel. We all come together. I got to thank my dad, Jeff. I don't know if he's watching or not, because without him, I can't do any of this.
I'm sure he's got better stuff to do than watch this. But now,
well, it's funny because he said, I'm going to retire and I'm going to come to the track now. Now that he's retired, I never see him. He's traveling. So I'm blessed to have him there. I got Ronnie Regal, who helps me out with the motor. There's a guy that, if you run 850, you know this guy, Roger Purdy. He's from Pro Street Chassis. He does a lot of my chassis stuff. Jay Bradford from Bad Habit Transmissions. He does my trans. Of course, Lee Ream does the converter. Everybody knows Lee.
Yep.
I mean, there's a bunch of people, Kevin and Don Scholl, Jerry Holcomb, Doug Dom, Keith Mayers, all these people have actually helped me throughout the years to get to me to be a better driver. So, I mean, and just like everybody in Division One, I mean, where would we be without anybody? They'll do whatever. And I broke my starter at Cecil County. Ed McClef was like, you know what? You can use my stacker, put it up in the stacker and fix it. So things like that make you feel blessed to be a part of it. So I have no complaints where I'm at.
Yeah, I do miss racing in D1. I love it back there. I still run my one number at Claim 7, but I still I'll be back to D1, back home one day. But for right now, we're in 7.
Yeah.
He's living large on the West Coast.
Well, no, I still live. I'm in Florida right now, but I still live in Maryland. But I race in D7. So I'm on a plane every week, pretty much. Basically, we're in Denver for the Mile High Nationals a few weeks ago and ran the Division 5 race there. So I'm all over.
It's crazy because you hear all these names all the time: Austin Williams, John LaBooth, Ricky Hall, all these people that you're like, man, these guys are killers. But if you race in Division 1, we got
absolutely.
a lot of unknown killers that you go up and They're like, crap, I should have waited a car.
Yeah, exactly.
Keith Mayers, for one. Keith is probably the hardest guy to race because no matter what you do, you think you got him. He's like, yeah, nope. But there's a lot. Chris DePascal is the same way. Chris is terrible. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, that's what you kind of set yourself up. Like, you look at someone like Keith who runs in my class Super Street, who is a multi-time NHRA champ, an IHRA world champ, multi-time .90 champ. You're like, man, for me to claim to be good, you got to beat someone like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks because I'm in a position now after winning this weekend at ACO. Now I'm in second point, 67 points behind Keith. So now in my head, I'm like, man, now I got to come after Keith. This is what I got to do. I have to elevate my game now, and that's how it should be for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't change up too much stuff trying to, go after him, but I would just, keep doing what you're doing. Obviously it's working, but Keith definitely, he's been racing and winning for years. And if that guy doesn't go in somebody's Hall of Fame one day, like he got cheated. Like that dude is the real deal. And that car, that car should go in a museum when he's done with it, basically, so. But but no, you're doing well. That's great. And like I said, D1, it's definitely home. And there are some tough racers. I always argue with guys out west and the Midwest. No, I claim 7. I'll be at Indy in a D7 All-Star shirt, but I'm still rooting for my D1 guys. So it's family.
Oh, your Super Street guys must be happy that Keith's building a new car too for next year or the year after.
I don't know if too many people know about that. You may have just let the cat out.
That one came up a couple of weeks ago. That was announced before I said it. So
he it's funny because he had his Dodge that he used to run 1150 in, or I think it was 1150 or 10.0. He sold that and he bought a 85 Corvette that now he's running in street. So, of course, this weekend at ACO, he drives it down, and, of course, he gets in there. And what does he do? He starts winning rounds in this, a car he's never been. I've known Keith for a couple of years. I've had the privilege of getting close and being good friends with him. So it's just amazing what he can do in anything he gets in. He was in a championship a couple of years ago, and his car broke, and I let him use my car in the final race to try and clinch the championship. And even getting in my car that he's never been in before, he gets in and it's like he's been in there 100 years. You know what I mean? He just goes round. So someone like that, you meet him once in a lifetime, but you're privileged to know him.
Sure.
Very cool. Well, congratulations, Sean, on a great weekend. And like I said, you got a week off and then you're off to Uncle Buck's Pig Roast.
Oh, we got ACO before that.
Or ACO before that, and then Uncle Buck's. That's right.
Pete is still coming. I did see Pete make an appearance this weekend, so I don't know if he's going to be there.
The only way Pete will make it there if he finds a rope ladder to get in his car. But that's I don't know, or a step stool or something. I don't know.
Oh, and your dad, by the way, Sean, your dad said, "I am here listening."
Oh yeah, there he is.
So,
how are you, Dad?
Hey, before we kick you out of here, just one more smart ass comment for you, Jerron. Parker Theobald wants to know if you painted the flower in your background.
So these are going to be on sale soon for $19.95 for the low price of $19.95. No, that's I guess it came from Walmart or something. I can't paint that good. Like, are you kidding me, Parker?
Oh, God. All right, Sean, thanks for coming on and hanging. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I do like Sean's background though. I like that. That's pretty cool.
That's hockey stuff right there, man. You can't go to a hockey rink without seeing stuff like that. See, there you go.
By nothing but hockey kids and figure skaters here at the rink.
There you go. All right, well, Sean, thanks for coming on and hanging out. And again, congratulations and good luck the rest of the year.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, man. Have a great evening.
You too. Sean. All right, see you guys. Bye.
All right, Sean Lanigan, winner Saturday at ATCO Mid-Atlantic .90 and semifinal rounds on Sunday in the same event, same race. So, Jerron, how are you, buddy?
Doing good, doing good. I'm burning up down here in Florida. I'm tired of the heat. I don't know how, I say daily, I don't know how anybody lives here forever. Like, whew, I know like the whole argument is, oh, well, it's so beautiful in the wintertime. And it is. It's paradise here in January, February. But right now, like I'm pretty sure I saw a car melt in the parking lot. Like it's terrible. It's terrible.
I'll take
But
the heat
doing
over
good.
the cold and the snow any day.
You know, I
Sign
used to
me
say
up.
that. I used to say that because you know, I've never liked the cold, but I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to a snowy winter. this winter.
Oh, no, we went from crappy weather up here in New England to it's been hotter than the third level of hell for the past few weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we're still waving up at you down here.
yeah, absolutely.
So are we
So,
gonna talk? Oh, I'm sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, are we gonna do some results? Or are we gonna get into the juicy alcohol funny car stuff, or what are we gonna do? Are we gonna make
Well,
some people
I
mad?
figured we could dive head on and see if we survive. We'll start off with the IHRA news that broke. So if you want to go ahead.
So I believe it was Larry Jeffers that bought IHRA. I got caught up in a few debates about about IHRA and past IHRA on Facebook. I tried to stay out of a few, but you know, it's can it be a good thing? Absolutely. Like, you know, we all, you know, a bunch of us old racers that ran IHRA years ago would love to see IHRA come back. You know, I ran IHRA for umpteen years, and they always treated the Sportsman racer great. They always treated everybody great. You know, so we'd like to see it come back, but you know, you just wonder, with most of the classes having been dissolved over the years, is Larry willing to bring back that traditional format, you know, or you know, is he going to turn it into like a ADRL or you know PDRA or something like that, which is fine. It's his to do, but I think that's the main question at hand is, will he even bring back the original format? If so, will he have enough people to support it? You know, that was the main problem the last few years of IHR is they just didn't have racer support. You know, uh, over on the NHRA side, they've got history, they've got prestige, they've got the wallet. You know, what everybody chases. And you know, there were a lot of hardcore racers that ran IHRA. At one point in time, that was the IHRA guys and the NHRA guys. You had a few that intermingled, but for the most part, there was a separation, so to speak. And most of those original IHRA guys have either retired, quit, you know, passed on, you know, gone to the racetrack in the sky, you know. So are there enough NHRA guys willing to support it? Is the main thing we gotta wait and see. So hopefully, you know, he can get some sponsorship, he can get some corporate backing to help him out and do that, get some racetracks. Obviously, you know, there's still sanctioned racetracks that are around. A few of them left and switched over. Some went outlaw, but hopefully he can get some, you know, support is the main thing he needs. So we'll wait and see, but it's definitely exciting.
Do you think they might find more support and success staying away from the pro type classes and sticking with just sportsman stuff?
You know, that's a very good question, and it could go either way. You know, obviously right now, big dollar bracket racing rules, you know, at the moment, and there's just, are there enough class type cars still around to that are going to want to leave NHRA if they're on conflicting dates, or leave NHRA if the rules are changed or different? You know, obviously he's got to keep it the same, like I said, with that same original format. Are there enough cars willing to support that? Can there be enough of a payout to have guys come over and run? I saw in the comments a lot of super stock guys were like, we'll do it in a heartbeat, we'll be right there. But I also remember the last 4 or 5 years that of the original IHRA, and the super stock guys weren't there, you know. So I don't know, you know, I think, you know, staying away from the pro thing is probably not the perfect idea, But with PDRA being very successful, with NMCA, with so many categories or organizations already, with so many cars. Again, the biggest question is car count. Do you have enough pro cars to support that? Do you have enough sportsman cars to support it? So it definitely remains to be seen. But let's definitely hope for the best.
How about keeping the same format, not having the pros, but do like a bookend of, say, 8 fuel cars, 8 fuel dragsters, and maybe 8 pro mods or something. Just do it as like a booked in thing versus actually running for points.
I think that's probably going to be or would be a good idea to start. Obviously, the main thing he's going to need is sponsorship. They had Summit for years. NHRA has Lucas. You need somebody that's going to put up that money, unless they go with, like you say, a track to track booked in type of situation where you can get a show. Because obviously the biggest thing is, as a racetrack owner and even owner of the organization, they need fans in the stands. They need that capital from the spectators. And the problem is spectators just aren't going to come to see sportsman cars. So you're going to need that booked in show. And then you're going to need a decent sized purse to draw sportsman racers in. Obviously without having a Wally, you got to have some incentive. But if you go back to, again, I hate to keep going back to the old ITRI days, but they had races where it paid $10,000 to win, and stock, super gas, everything, and didn't get the support because there just wasn't a Wally to be had. So it just we just got to wait and see. And but I think you're definitely onto something there with having a booked in show, almost like the old Wednesday night pro stock, or something like that. Bring in where you can bring the fans in. Have it maybe a 2-day format where you have Chicago style qualifying or a Chicago style pro race within the race while the sportsman race, and something like that. There's ways to do it, but you just got to get the support.
Very cool. All right, so it's unfortunately just sit back and watch and wait.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I think it's just gone too long right now to say you can definitely come back and bam, be right there. But I mean, who knows? He may have a plan that none of us have thought about, and may already be working with sponsors and bring out a multi-million-dollar deal, and he may have one other thing you could do is have a booked in big money bracket race along with it. You never know whether you have time or not to finish it, but
Right.
that's obviously an option too. So we'll see. I again though, it's just everything is still positive. I mean, the fact that he bought it, showed some interest, and is trying to revive it is something to applaud him right now. So I'm happy he bought it.
Cool. Yeah, because you basically started out in IHRA, correct?
Yeah, that was the first. I started running IHRA for years. I had run some NHRA stuff, but we were mainly IHRA racers basically. And then I was an IHRA series sponsor for the last 7 years of the class racing basically. And then I think, well, maybe it was the last 8 years, but I know I was there at the end and all through the beginning. And as a kid growing up watching the old IHRA days, back before Pro Mod, when top sportsman was dragsters and door cars. I'm kind of aging myself right now, but I go back to those days, when the top few funny cars and pro stock guys all ran both. You could go to IHRA and see Joe Amato and Bob Glidden and John Forrest and all that. So IHRA definitely has a huge lineage, and there's a number of racers that would still go back, but you just wonder if it's if it's enough. So wait and see. And I'm definitely excited though.
Yeah, because I remember, again, probably aging myself on this one. For the longest time, it was IHRA was kind of considered a Southern sanctioning body.
Yeah.
And then it slowly started to kind of trickle out through other parts of the country. I mean, New England Dragway for, I think, twice was sanctioned by IHRA for a few years here, and then again a few years there. And then they switched back to NHRA, obviously. But yeah, it's like I said, growing up, even 20, 25 years ago, it was more or less a Southern sanctioning body that kind of splintered out a little bit and then went. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things I used to hear. Even Pete Senka would say things like, I'd love to run IHRA, but it's too far. They weren't really in the Northeast except for New England Dragway. I think that was probably the only IHRA track. Maybe they did have Leicester years ago, Empire.
No, Empire is still IHRA, and for a short time, I believe Oxford Plains up in Maine was IHRA, but like very short time.
Yeah,
a year or less, I think.
Yeah, but for the for the most part, it was definitely the Carolinas ruled IHRA basically, and it wasn't anything past the Mississippi up until they got San Antonio in the late '90s or early 2000s, and then they moved to Tucson for 1 or 2 years, or had a race there in Tucson. But it was mostly a southeastern organization, and which again still isn't a bad thing, but that's one thing that he would have to work with too. Is if he wants to compete with NHRA, compete with PDRA, is going to have to go to a lot of different markets, and so we'll see. It's going to be cool though. I hope everybody talks about the Bader days. We can never get the Bader days back, but if he could kind of figure out a way to follow that format, I think he's got a winning program on his hands.
Rob said used to be a national event, an IHRA national event at ATCO. I don't know what the timeline on that was.
So yeah, I want to say that one stopped in 89 or 90. I went to it in 87 and 88. But yeah, it was a long time ago. ATCO was IHRA. The Summer Nationals is actually what it was called. So, and it was a hot one too. But I don't believe they went past the 90s with ATCO being IHRA.
Cool. Well, that's that. So you got your bulletproof vest on? You ready?
I'm gonna try my best to stay political because I don't want to get a phone call or a letter tomorrow. So,
so the other day, it was announced that they're adding A fuel to top alcohol funny car starting next year. Back in, what was it, at the Four Wides, correct? In Charlotte, they had a meeting, and then there was another meeting not too long after that with drivers, crew, car owners about it, just to get their take on it. And my understanding was the consensus was no. And again, it was just recently announced the other day that they are adding A fuel to an HRA top alcohol funny car. And go, Jerron.
I heard the same thing that the general consensus, having talked to a couple of alcohol funny car drivers, that they didn't want it. I don't know exactly how true that is. Obviously, there are a number I can point out. I'm not going to say any names, but they did want it. Whether or not NHRA listens, who can really prove that point? But over the last few days, we've heard all the, this is going to be for sale. This guy is selling this guy. I'm not buying into that. Drag racers are drag racers. We heard the same thing in the late 90s, I believe it was, when they added A fuel to alcohol dragster. The guys weren't happy, but it did breathe some life into the class. As a purist, I probably am not for it. But at the same time, I also want to see the sport around. I want to see the class, stay. So if I don't see these guys going up selling their cars. Now, are we going to see a couple of guys sell stuff, get out of it? Sure. But I really think they were probably on their way out anyway and just kind of needed a reason, and not dogging any of those guys that do that. But I just don't think the hardcore, Nick Janik out in D7 is not going to sell his stuff. Doug Gordon was a proponent for it. He's not going to sell his stuff. The top guys, the Bellamers, the Haugs, they're not going anywhere. They're just going to pull themselves up the bootstrap and rev it up a little higher and dump the clutch and try to beat them. And then my thing is, by allowing that, just because they're allowing, how do we know how many cars are going to be built? That's the other thing. It could be a deal where they don't get any, or they get one or two. So is that really a deal where if you got two or three, is that going to kill the class? No, so it's going to be interesting to see. I know that there's a lot of guys that don't want to talk about it, and I know why. I wish that they could talk about it, because it would make an interesting conversation tonight. But I do understand why they don't want to. But bottom line, I don't think it's going to hurt the class the way a lot of people say it is. Now, I don't run it, so I don't know for sure. I'm just speaking off of speculation and things that I've seen in the past. Everybody, when they said back in the late 90s, when they're like, everybody's got to run mufflers and super comp, super gas, and super street. Oh, I'm quitting. I'm not running anymore. The fields were still full. So it's just a reaction that's going to happen. And again, it's something that unfortunately we have to wait till next year and see. But I just don't think it's going to be the mass exodus of racers like some would make it out to believe.
Possible with people who have other cars to race in other classes. And also depending on, obviously, some of these guys who have, high-end sponsors, and what the sponsor says. If they say, no, you're staying. You want to keep racing, you're staying.
Exactly. Yeah. It's I don't, obviously I'm not going to say it ruins alcohol dragster, because there's still some blown cars that compete, but we've also seen it run a lot of blown cars out. If NHRA is able to control the parity, then we could see what I'm saying, where it's not going to kill it. But obviously, if you get the right person behind it and they figure out how to just dominate, then yeah, that could hurt it. But that's going to be up to NHRA to try and police it. I'm not sure, if it's going to be as easy to get a funny car to be fast right off the bat like the dragsters. Maybe it is. I don't know. Obviously, same combination, but again, it's a different animal. We've seen some of the best in alcohol funny car not able to make pass after pass after pass in proven combinations, because those cars are so finicky, so to speak. So you just never know. That could be the thing that keeps the class alive. That the cars are so hard to drive. You hear that the pro stock and alcohol funny car are the hardest cars to drive. So will the injected deal make it easier to drive? I don't know. You definitely hear that it made it easier to drive alcohol dragster. But will the short wheelbase keep it fair?
Right.
We'll see.
Now, I know we kind of talked about this the other night on the phone. Do you think the maintenance part of it's going to play a huge part of people's decisions too?
That's something that I really wish we could get, some guys that run it. Again, I don't run the class, so obviously, everything I'm saying is speculation. So don't hold this to me. Don't come at Indy and break a ball over my head. But I just, that's what I was thinking, that, nitro is obviously a lot more expensive to buy as a fuel. But I just wonder, is the maintenance between rounds cheaper? Are you, because they're not turning the cars as hard, or are they not changing valve springs? Or are they not doing some of the things that the blown cars guys are doing? Or are they not having to restrip a supercharger, things like that? So, that could be a situation where it may be economical for someone to switch. You've already got parts, and know how to run your blown car and not eat up parts. It could be cheaper to stay alcohol, to stay blown. So it's going to be interesting for sure. Like I said, I like it. I don't like it. From the purist in me doesn't like it, but the drag racing fan in me is like, yeah, let's do it. Let's see some new blood. And one of the things that NHRA said was the reasoning behind it was to make it an easy transition into nitro, into fuel. whether we see that happen a lot, I know all those classes are needing cars. We're seeing 14 to 16 nitro funny cars every week. We're not seeing a deal where there's, over 16 where there's a bump spot hardly at all. And so if this is something that helps a guy, get used to it, get some funding, show that prove to a sponsor that, they can for a little bit more money, we can jump to nitro funny car, then I'm all for that too. We need butts in, as much as we need butts in the stands, we need butts in the race cars too. So it could be a good thing.
Yeah, because looking at the entry list, especially for fuel cars, the complete opposite ends of the country are probably the two weakest as far as car counts,
Sure.
unfortunately. Because they're two of the hardest places for them to get to, they say.
Yeah, that's everybody wants to blame it on diesel, and I'm saying that's not not the problem, but I don't think that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of things we're seeing, a lot of problems we're seeing is parts. Guys don't have parts. I know, talking to some nitro teams, I spent some time in the nitro pits in Denver, and top tier teams don't have parts. They're running on a huge budget, but they're running on a shoestring parts program. They're not able to get superchargers. They're not able to get different things. So that's one of the reasons why we've seen some of the car counts low. And diesel, obviously, that's a big deal. But we just got to wait and see. Fuel's coming down, it seems like. I don't know. So we're headed into the final stretch of the season. We saw some cars on the Western Swing. We saw the attrition of the Western Swing, lose some cars. We lost Cam Ferre and Terry Haddock's team. They hurt some parts in Sonoma, weren't able to go to Seattle. And same with Terry Totten, I think, is looking for some sponsorship for Indy. So it's money. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of factors in there. But again, if pulling some more guys out of Alcohol Funny Car helps. If you look at a lot of the older guys in Nitro Funny Car, Tim Wilkerson came out of Alcohol Funny Car, and Tasca, DeJorio. You're just not seeing the guys move into Nitro anymore. These guys are going to Alcohol Funny Car, staying, and there's not anything wrong with that. But again, if this helps bring some more people into the class, then let's do it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So with that being said, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I don't think anybody's gonna beat me over the head, but I'm probably gonna wear my helmet at Indy the whole time. I'm not sure nobody's mad at me. It's like
I think we'll survive. We made it this far.
It's one of those deals. Years ago, the two things you shouldn't talk about was politics and religion. Now you don't talk about Alcohol Funny Car and diesel fuel. You don't talk about that.
All right. So there's only so much you can say about it. You just end up repeating yourself, unfortunately. So results from this past weekend up in the Great Northwest in Kent, Washington. Let's kick it off, Jerron. We're going to go with Top Fuel. Tony Schumacher with his new team defeated Brittany Force. Schumacher with 397. 251 defeated Brittany. I think she blew the tires off pretty much right at the start. She ran 514 at 153 miles an hour.
Yeah, that was great to see Tony get a win. I actually spent some time with him also in Denver, and he was telling a few of his guys at the hotel, because they were pretty down. They've had a really bad season this year. And one of the strong points that, with him, where he's a champion, he said, listen, and this wasn't at the track, this was at the hotel talking to three of his crew guys. He's like, listen, we've been down before, we're down right now, but hang in there, keep your heads up, don't get mad, don't yell at anybody. We're gonna win some races. And 2 races later they went. Now obviously they had some luck on their side, but they had a good car in qualified number 3, and made a good run first round. But second semis and finals, he had some luck, but you need to rate some luck, and so it's definitely good. Joe Maynard and the Maynard family, him and Kathy, bought the team. That's been something that's kind of been in the works here for a while, so it's good to see some new ownership in the nitro runnings.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because there was a press release the other day with Don Schumacher about basically stepping, not necessarily away entirely, but definitely stepping back from drag racing a little bit.
Yeah, Joe bought controlling interest of DSR. Obviously, Don still owns, a portion of it, and most of the teams will still buy parts. Like obviously, Ron Cap's team is still at DSR. Antron's team, like all those teams are still housed at DSR. They're leasing and renting programs and space, shop space, things like that. The machine shop is still up and going. The fab shop, the CNC, all that stuff is still up and going. It's just Don kind of backing away from actually ownership, basically. But I think this is what it needs. As good as the dynasties of Coletta and Force and Schumacher is, it kind of put a pinch on the one car team or the low budget team, and I think this will help kind of bring some people back, get some people thinking about going into nitro, because obviously when you're going up against a powerhouse, you're like, do I even stand a chance? But now with all these single owners, I like it. It's good for the sport, I think.
Very cool. All right, funny car, Robert Height, 397 at 319 miles an hour, defeated J.R. Todd, 397, also at 324 miles an hour.
Yeah, Robert had a great car. Robert really was just a dominant car all weekend. JR had struggled in qualifying, but on race day had just as good a car as Robert. So in the final, it was going to be, it promised to be a good race, and it was. Hats off to JFR and even the yellow fellas over there. They did great.
All right, Pro Stock taking his first Wally. Troy Coughlin Jr. in a Chevy Camaro, 663, 208 miles an hour, defeated Red Hot Erica Enders in her Camaro. Still keeps it in the elite trophy case, but he took her out, not by much, but enough to get it done.
Yeah, I think it was 1,000 finish line or something like that, or maybe 110,000.
1,000.
It was pretty close. And I'll be honest with you, I've known TJ for a long time, and I didn't realize that he hadn't won a pro race. I know he'd run for Mud and run top fuel there for a little bit, and been in pro stock for the last year and a half. But I really didn't realize that was his first win. So that was really great to get it. He's won in Super Comp and Top Dragster and Super Gas over the years. To get a win in pro stock is saying something. And he took out some hitters. He took out Greg Anderson in the semis and Erica in the final. So he did good.
She is red hot these days. It's almost like she is a woman on a mission, but it'd be interesting to see what the next few races bring, especially Indy.
She said at the beginning of the year, you guys are going to see Mean Erica. So it looks like she's showing us Mean Erica this year. So we'll get 7 or 8 finals this year.
Right. Top Alcohol Dragster. NHRA Division 1's own Jackie Frick, 566, 242 miles an hour, defeated Kim Parker with a slow 827 at 139 miles an hour. Jackie is, again, kind of red hot right now, even though, like Taylor said, she took a little bit of time, or the team took a little bit of time at the beginning of the year to kind of figure out some things they were stumbling on, and I think they may have figured that out.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was actually surprised that Kim Parker, who she beat in the final, didn't go down the track. She smoked the tires. Kim had the best car all weekend, was number 1 qualifier, and but I guess Jackie may have made them think about their tune-up in the final. But Jackie's car ran good all day. She ran good numbers. I think she got away with one there in the final because I think she hurt the motor at the about the 1,000-foot mark. But she needed that points-wise, like Taylor said. They've been kind of struggling early in the year, but 2-3 finals in a row for them is getting it. So It's going to be tight. I know she lost the championship last year by a few rounds, so we might see Mean Jackie later on this year too.
I don't know if they're planning on running Echo. I would assume so. If they do, they got a long drive ahead of them.
Yeah, their truck driver. She talked about him the other day. He's a beast, because I know we were in Phoenix early this year and they were there, and he left there, hightailed it right to Gainesville. So yeah, they don't care about making him go coast to coast on a whim. So the guy must keep a case of Red Bulls and 5-hour energy in the passenger seat. He does some driving.
Absolutely. All right. Top alcohol funny car. Jake Guadagnolo and the Chevy Camaro 556, 262 miles an hour. Took out Brian Huff and his Camaro, also 556 at 264 miles an hour.
Yeah, we're not going to pronounce his last name. You butchered enough. I don't need to help you with that. But
hey,
Jake is one of the converter cars, one of the West Coast converter cars. That thing it flies a lot. He's been number one in qualifier a few times this season, but had never won a national. So it was pretty cool to see him win his first national event, especially like say with a converter car. Was like 12 on the tree in the final. And Brian Howell, who has Johnny Lindbergh as a crew chief, is no slouch. I mean, he's got a win up at Woodburn a few weeks back, and he's been on fire the last few weeks. So it was a good one. But good job to Jake Guadagnolo. Yeah, Jake.
uh-huh.
I'm normally good with names, but that one, he's got me on that one.
Guadagnolo. I'm
Yeah.
going with Guadagnolo. That sounds pretty darn close.
What you said.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on to one of my favorite classes, of course, comp eliminator. Don't even try it, Jerron. Ryan Pretty in his Chevy Camaro 710 at 148 miles an hour defeated Bruce Smidel in his Bantam Roadster, who, as Pete loves to say, lit the cherry.
Yeah, I think Bruce might have had Ryan covered performance-wise, but turned it red. Pretty, I thought, got hit once in elimination, so was down on index a little bit, but that car's fast. I think this is Ryan's second win this year. I think he won in Vegas, and the Mountain View Tire Fast Performance team is pretty stout. They're waiting on a new car for Paul Mitzos and Top Sportsman, so they're kind of putting all their focus on this one. But it would have been good. It would have been a good final if Bruce had turned it green. He was only 18 red, and like I said, had some index left.
Right. Super stock, and one of the cars that you definitely don't see converted much anymore. Ryan Stoltz in his old Sierra 1096 and 103 defeated Kyle Rizzoli in a Chevy Camaro 1015 at 137 miles an hour.
Yeah, that was an interesting final, and like I said, Rod's car, I think it's an older FJ or Mike Peasley car or whatever. It's been around for a bit, but still working good. But Kyle's car just stumbled on him. He let go of the button, it left and fell right on its face and back up again. So it was gonna be a good final. Kyle's a tough competitor, but Rod got his first win in one of the old Cutlass Sierras from back in the 90s when that was the Cobalt of Superstock.
Hey, wasn't the Sierra technically a factory car? It was almost like a body in white.
So that was one of the first ever body in whites that Superstock, when FJ built the first one, it was revolutionary basically, because it was I believe that car, FJ's first one was the first front drive conversion car in Superstock. So yeah, and it was that body style that year that Rod has. Excuse me.
Pretty cool. All right, stock eliminator, long roof for the win. Jody Lang in his Chevy Malibu wagon 1231 at 92 miles an hour defeated Ryan McClanahan in the Chevy Camaro, also with a red light for the final.
And Jody Lang, that's 2 in a row for Jody. He won in Sonoma just last weekend, and I think that took him to like 32 or 33 national event wins, and he's definitely a West Coast hitter. That wagon is just, if you run stock eliminator in D6 or D7, you see that wagon in the other lane, you're like, oh god. So Ryan did what he had to do, turned it 5 red. You know, he couldn't, he knew he couldn't have been 20 or whatever. Jody said he got lucky being 18, but that Carl, I've seen him put that thing dead on a lot. So Jody's definitely going to be in the hunt. He's kind of snuck up on everybody in the points chase. I think 3rd now, and it's going to be an interesting year. If Parker is still watching, he needs to get his shift together and start winning some races so he can get up there and fight with Jody.
All right, in the class that is near and dear to Jerron's heart, of course, I'm talking about Super Comp. Dylan Huff, or is it Howe?
It's Howe.
It's Howe in his
Yeah.
dragster, 891 at 180 miles an hour, defeated James Glenn in a 893 at 161 miles an hour. Yes, I say dragster because, and I got some crap about it a couple weeks ago, but every once in a while, a door car sneaks into Super Comp and messes with everybody.
Yeah, there's a few. There's one in D5, James Kunkel or Jimmy Kunkel. He's got one of the he's a hitter, and then the guy down in D2 that won Atlanta last year. But yeah, for the most part, it's a big buck Chevy dragster field. But way to go for Dylan Howe. They were trying to have a father-son final. Brian lost in funny car, but Dylan got the job done. And you know, I think he kind of messed up James Glenn. James Glenn has been having a phenomenal year. He's been having, I believe, a dream year in Super Comp. Like, it's the years that I dream about. If I could have a race like Jimmy has, you know, 3 national event finals, 2 runner-ups, a win. But looking at, you know, their numbers, he was 17 to Dylan's 26, and I think looking at the speed, 161, looks like Jimmy was just trying for the double breakout or hoping that trying to drop Dylan, because Dylan was, you know, up on him with a 180 mile an hour car. Just kind of made the wrong decision to give up the stripe. But, you know, he's made that decision so many times well this year that, you know, you can't blame him. And but three national event finals this year, the guy's wanting the world championship. I mean, he is driving his butt off, and Dylan Howe isn't that far behind. I think he's in 6th or 7th in points. So, you know, this will help him with a few races left in his division. So it's going to be an interesting fight for the world championship in Super Comp with you know, LeBouse, Glenn, Matty Payne's up in there, and Allison McComb, who still has three division races left and a couple national events left to claim. It's going to be a crazy year in Super Comp.
It's hard to believe that we're already starting to talk about the end of the season.
Yeah, this year has definitely flew by. It seems like yesterday I was just laughing about being the first Super Comp loser this year. Yes, I hold that. I was the first pair out in Pomona at the Winter Nationals.
And do you think you should get a Wally for that?
I think I should get my head beat for that, but but yeah, this year has flew by. This year is definitely like it's nuts that, yeah, we're already, you know, we're done with the Western Swing. We're coming up on Topeka and Brainerd, and we'll be right at Indy. And then after that, it's countdown time for the Camping World Series and clutch time for the Lucas Oil guys.
Absolutely. All right, next up, Super Gas. Randy Sides in his Chevy Camaro 992 at 173 miles an hour defeated Rodney Lee in the Chevy Corvette, who went red.
Yeah, it seemed like red lights were the order of the day in the finals here in Seattle. But, you know, that's what you got to do sometimes. I met Randy Sides earlier this year, and that's a beautiful car, brand new car, just brought it out this year. I believe it's a Charlie Stewart car, roadster, and he drove well all weekend. Was pretty much teen on the tree every run, and yeah, he did well. So hats off to him, and he'll move on to some of the other last D6 nationals or divisionals, and see if he can't put himself up into championship contention.
All right, Super Street, Tony Hopkins in his Chevy. That's all it says, Chevy.
It's a 55.
1091. What?
It's a 55 Chevy.
Oh, all right, 55 Chevy, 1091, 147 miles an hour, defeated David Wakefield in his Chevelle. Again, another red light.
Yeah, Wakefield was on all day. That's a pretty cool Chevelle. That was two really cool Super Street cars. Tony Hopkins is got like a peach and gray 55 Chevy that is beautiful. In Wakefield's Chevelles, I believe the 70 or 71 Chevelle, and turned it 3 red in the final. And it just I know those hurt. 3 red in the final. Hopkins was 22, but went 1 over with a 0, so it would have been a tough race. At Wakefield turned it green. But, it's always cool to see an old Tri-5 Chevy win a national event. You just don't see that too much.
All right, top sportsman presented by Vortex Superchargers. Sean Erbst in his Firebird 712, 166 miles an hour, defeated Joe Maloff in his GXP. Again, another red light. Red lights, like you said, was kind of indicative at the finals out there.
Yeah. Joe Meloff was an interesting story to even make it to the final. I believe in the quarterfinals Sunday morning, they were running a little bit behind with the Sportsman, so they ran a couple rounds, 2 or 3 rounds on Sunday morning before the pros. And Joe actually tagged the wall. I'm not sure if it was on a bye run or on a run, but I know it was after the finish line, he hit the wall, and he had to bye the next round. So yeah, I guess it wasn't a bye when he crashed, but he won that round, hit the wall, and they duct taped and fixed and tried to get it ready. He just idled down the track for the bye and the semis, and then came back in the final and turned it red. But just hats off for him to be able to take a wreck car to the final, wreck a car the same day and go to the final with it. It's pretty cool. But and Sean Herbst actually was the defending champion of that race. He won it in 2019, the last time that the NHRA series went to Seattle. So 2-time Seattle winner for Sean.
All right, Jerron, I got a project for you next when you're back out west sometime. Just my curiosity, there used to be an Erbst family that raced score off-road, like Baja and all that. Your task, if you're willing to accept, is to find out if he's related to them or if he was one of them.
I will definitely do that. So the Herbst family is from Las Vegas. That runs the off-road stuff, and I think they still do.
I think they own a casino out there too.
They own a lot of stuff out there. They own a chain of gas stations called Terrible Herbst.
Terrible Erbst.
Yeah, and I'll have to find out about Sean, see if Sean is one of those guys. I don't know, the 55 didn't have it wasn't lifted with 32s all the way around it. May not be the same family.
All right, moving on to top dragster again, presented by Vortex Superchargers. Thomas Bear, 625 at 224 miles an hour, defeated Clinton Geis, 667, 195 miles an hour.
Yeah, Bear is another one, just like Jody Lane, got his got his second national event win in a row. Won out in Sonoma, came here and drove good, was 004, 009, 008, 30, and then 17 the final. So yeah, and he was only 30 on his single, I believe. But Bear's a long time hitter out in the Northwest, and owns a drag racing school out there, allows a lot of people to make their first passes and actually rents cars to race. So he proves why he's the teacher. Clinton Geis was 002 and just took a little too much stripe on the bottom end. Bear dropped him, let him go, and or actually looks like he may have even followed him through, I think. But either way, it was a double breakout, and Bear ended up on the right side of it.
All right, last but certainly not least, junior dragster shootout. Daniel O'Connor, 788 at 81 miles an hour, defeated Cole Dickhoff. Again, unfortunately, another red light.
The red light. Yeah, it's definitely was red light madness there in there. But Daniel O'Connor, yeah, they had a little shootout. Normally they just let the juniors, just make a couple runs, but they had a shootout that started on Saturday. And these are the last two. I think it was only 6 or 8 cars in that shootout that run off. But yeah, Daniel O'Connor got his first Wally and was 007 in the final. So what a way to win your first Wally as a kid.
Very cool. Yeah, and it's awesome to do it in front of the crowd like that. For these kids, it's got to be just like, you know, the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. Getting to race on the same track as the pros, Alan Reinhardt's, said it before, and he's right. When the Baltimore Orioles are playing, they don't let the kids come out and play on the same field as them, the little leaguers, but in drag racing, we take it for granted because we're just like, oh, it's just a strip of asphalt, but it's the same place that the pros, it's, be like going out throwing a touchdown pass after Tom Brady just did, on the same field, and
Right.
You just don't get to do that. So it's definitely cool of NHRA to allow the kids to go out there and race in front of the same fans, take the same tree, and burn out in the same water as John Forrest and the rest of it. So it's cool.
Very cool. All right, we're gonna wrap things up with Mid-Atlantic .90 series. Their race number 5 and number 6, I think it was. Hopefully I got it. Yeah, it was 5 and 6.
Yeah,
At Atco this past weekend. We're gonna kick it off with Super Comp. Our winner was Tony Iacono, of course, the father of our co-host that was on with us earlier, Taylor Nobile. In Super Comp, Tony over Nick Alt. Tony ran 892 with a 7 to best Nick's breakout 888 with a 9. Tony was 12 on the tree and Nick was 23 on the tree.
Yeah, it sounds like Tony went down and said, "Nick, you want the stripe? Take it," and dropped him off. And the plan worked out great as Nick broke out by 3.
All right, moving on to Super Gas again on Saturday, Mid-Atlantic .90 series in Atco. Your winner, George Donhauser over Rich Price. George, 14 on the tree, dead on 9900.
Wow. Talk about 2 names that have been around D1 Super Gas for years. Dunhauser, Uncle Buck, and Rich Price with the infamous time to move cars, they've just been around D1, and to have those guys still out there racing and winning and going dead zero is pretty cool. Pretty cool. These are guys that I watched growing up and wanted to emulate. So hats off to both of them for still out there kicking butt.
All right, Super Street on Saturday. Our guest that was on with us earlier, your winner, Sean Lanigan, 12 on the tree, 889 with a 7, defeated the one and only Kelly Barbado, who was 24 on the tree, but ran 1088 with a 4. So she broke out by just a little bit more. Yeah,
the double breakouts are tough in those classes. I mean, you're talking a few thousands on both sides, and you going down there looking over, should I take it, should I not, and sometimes making the wrong decision to drop can turn out to be the right decision. But Kelly's been a great racer for years, and Jake Barbado, and that whole team's been around D1 Super Street and Super Gas for years. So you do well. Sean had some had to go through a tough field to win that deal. So good job to Sean and that beautiful 68 Camaro with the little 632.
The teeny tiny little 632. Yeah. And Kelly and her fiance and her dad are working on shaking down their new car too. They had it out a couple of weeks ago. So it's going to be another Super Street killer. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right. Race number 6 finals. Super Comp, Tom Oliver, 006, 888, 887 with a 7 to defeat Don Bangs, who was 23 on the tree with an 84 with a 2.
Don Bangs has that unique, really, really, really slow throttle stop that throws everybody off. So sounds like they, again, double breakout, but sounds like he just let him go, and Don unfortunately went a little too far under. But Super Comp's just so tough. I mean, it's so many variables. Everybody's good. Everybody's got good equipment. So it's just a great job by the winner there.
All right. Moving on to Super Gas. Your winner, Frank Volpe III, was 10 on the tree, dead on 990 with a 0 to take out Hank Smith, who is 001, 989 with a 5.
Wow, that sounds like a barn burner there. Was Frank? Did you say he was 10 dead zero?
Yep, 10 did 0.
Wow, 10 pack, and he's out a couple thousand the other lane. Wow, that's Northeast Super Gas at its best right there. I blame Keister for making these guys so good.
Let's see. Wrap it up with Super Street. James Antoinette Sr., 57 on the tree, 1093 with a 5. And the Orange Crate Eddie McLeaf, 20 on the tree, 1098 with a 6 for the runner-up spot.
Oh yeah, sounds like Ed just decided to drop him off, and it didn't turn out the way he planned. But again, two guys that have been in NHRA Super Street for a long time, so it's great to hear those names still out there doing the deal.
Great Eddie, one of the coolest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah. And hats off to Keister for keeping this series going, and hopefully he can keep it going for years to come. He's been doing a great job with it for a while. I know it's a ton of work, and probably doesn't get the credit he deserves for having to do all the work he does. But I'd like to support it if whenever I can. But unfortunately, haven't been able to run one yet. But we'll get out there, and I'll get my butt kicked by one of Keister's regulars here soon.
Well, that he's adding Top Dragster and Top Sportsman to the mix for next year. They're doing a couple of races this year, but he's got plans for it next year. So hopefully everything works out. And there's just one more thing before we head out, Jerron. Saturday at New England Dragway, they had a Top Sportsman race, the Ayanati Top Sportsman Series. 32 cars for $4,000 to win. Your winner was Brandon Miller over Al Stafari. So congratulations to Brandon Miller. He's a killer in anything he gets in. So, yeah. And they did a great job of running that series, and it's growing. And they have Top Dragster series there now too. So hopefully all these little micro series, if you will, can get together over the winter and put something up where, okay, we can race here this weekend, we can race there. Let's not bang heads.
Sure.
Together.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, sounds like it. $4,000 for 32 cars is good for just a one-day show. I'm assuming. So yeah, yep. That's great. Yeah, and they're getting the turnout. The car turnout is the biggest thing. Getting support. People are supporting Keister, and they know he's doing a good job. So yeah, hats off to all those guys. And yeah, hopefully they can get together, maybe even combine and make a bigger series. You never know. But yeah, it's good to see those series out there thriving.
So, Jerron, my good friend, since we haven't seen you in a while, why don't you kind of give us the wrap up on your season so far? And
it's been bad. It's been bad.
You've been very, very busy business-wise, right?
Yeah, we've been pretty busy working on some cars. We got a Super Gas car finishing up here. Actually, a Division I Super Gas car, Super Street car, that'll be finished here in the next few days. And I have a couple no prep cars we're working on. I have a couple dragsters we're doing, and a number of helmets for some fairly decent or good customers, I should say. But as far as racing, one runner-up in Vegas back in April at the Lucas Oil deal out there, but it's been rough. Runner-up at a top 8 race in Denver at the Division 5 Lucas race up there, and then went back for the Mile High Nationals and had a brain fart first round, and was bumping in and got the car rocking a little too much and hit the trans brake button while I was staging, and couldn't get it reset fast enough before I got red lighted. So I didn't even get a chance to get beat in Vandermeer, but it's just one of those years. The national event trail has been tough for me this year. I've had a little bit of success on the Lucas trail, but the national events have been beating me up. So we'll move on to Indy in a few weeks, and my teammate Brianna Weens is in the Jags All Stars for Top Dragster D7 rep. So hoping she can do good there, and the rest of us can go some rounds, or maybe even I can avenge Indy from 2 years ago when I lost in the finals by 1 thou. But yeah, we're looking forward to the rest of the season. Looking forward to get back to our Lucas Steel in Bakersfield in October. We've got three races left: a double in Bakersfield, one last divisional in Vegas, and then the Vegas and Pomona National. So got about 5 or 6 races left, and we're gonna try to finish out this season better than it started. That's for sure.
Very cool. Can't ask for anything more than that. Well, like to bust on you, but God knows I couldn't do any better. So
No, it's all good. Everybody busts on me pretty good most of the time. It's all good. It just it is what it is. Everybody has good years, bad years. This year has not been mine, but we're only halfway through, so hope we can turn it around. I was trying to, hope for a top 10 finish nationally, but right now just looking to have some fun the rest of the season and maybe mess up somebody else's hopes for a championship or or a top 10. But we're just gonna have some fun and hopefully it's gonna happen. But we hopefully have a pretty exciting announcement later this year about my plans for the upcoming near future, I should say. So keeping it quiet right now, but we got some big news on the horizon.
awesome. Very cool. Well, hopefully we'll be able to talk to you live and in person again before the end of the season. But one of the things I do want you to make plans to be around for is we're having the first annual Petey Awards at the end of the race season this year, right before Christmas.
So is the trophy going to be
It's about this tall.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
So,
got you. Sure. Yeah, it's going to be. Is it going to be a midget doing this like that?
no, you're not going to be a midget doing that. Close, a midget steering wheel.
I'm sorry, Pete. I love you, but I had to. I mean, I think a trophy with somebody doing like this would be like the perfect Petey award.
So, like I said, it's something to have a little bit of fun with because, in a way, it's been kind of a rough year for a lot of people. And we decided we wanted to do it and have a little fun with it and kind of see where it goes. The folks at Duzen LLC down in Nashua, New Hampshire, they're a general machine shop, and they also have their bead block conversion kits, have decided to come on board to help us out with the Petey Award. So like I said, we're going to do it after the season ends, right before the holiday craziness kicks off. So not going to make fun of anybody, but we're just going to have a little bit of fun with it.
No, definitely count me in. I'll be in for that. Travel, shouldn't have any crazy travel then, so we'll see. But we got to make fun of Pete. I mean, it wouldn't be us if we didn't make fun of Pete. I mean, I'm kind of sad now that you said I can't make fun of Pete.
Well, did you see the picture of his car? He's got sissy sticks on the back of it now.
Does he really? Wow. Well, does it match the rope ladder that he uses to get in the car with? Maybe.
No, the kids bought him a step for his birthday.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I like it. But no, looking forward to that. You're right. It's been a rough year for a number of folks. So yeah, if you guys can give out some awards and in the year on a good note, I'm all for that and can't wait. It's gonna be cool. I should definitely get co-host of the year. I've done 2 shows this year, so I don't know why I would be in the running for that. But
I think you're ahead of Pete.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all I got to do is stand up, and I'm ahead of Pete. But yeah, whatever.
So it's good. We got trophies. Well, we're getting trophies. We're working on what we're gonna do for how we're gonna figure it out. But it's gonna be fun. We're gonna enjoy it, and I want to thank Duzen LLC, of course, the Pettit family. They've obviously had a crap year too, but their stuff burned into the ground. But they're a general machine shop, and they have their beadlock conversion kits that they do themselves down in Nashua, New Hampshire, soon to be located in Temple, New Hampshire. So thank you to the Pettits and Duzen for wanting to come on and have some fun. So.
Gotcha. Well, looking forward. Can't wait. And keep me posted. We'll try to jump on here some more, maybe right after Indy, possibly, or maybe sooner. We'll see. But we'll do what we can to kind of unbusy ourselves a little bit to join you guys a little bit more. I have fun every time we're on. Definitely wish Pete could be on with us, but he he had to go get measured for his. Never mind. I'm sorry.
My phone should be lighting up like any time now, probably.
I was thinking he was getting measured for his Munchkin suit, but I didn't want to, I didn't want to spoil the surprise. But yeah, it's all good. It was they're using a short tape measure too. Don't worry. It's terrible. I love you, Pete. I'm sorry. Look, I haven't
No, he's
turned a
not.
red light on.
No, he's not. He's not sorry. He's trying to save face, Pete. Don't let him kid you.
That's okay. Pete's coming down here, I think, in another week or so. So I'm sure I'll have a few knots upside my knees. But yeah, I'll make sure when he tries to jump me, I'll get him a ladder.
I'd say take him to Disney World. Hopefully they don't try to hijack him on It's a Small World.
I think he's the mascot of that. What are you talking about? But then again, he might be too short to ride it.
You must be this tall.
Sorry, sir, you're not allowed on this ride. Can you move out of that 8-year-old kid's way so you can get on? Oh,
There's a newborn over there in the car. Oh, wait a minute. Look, it's Taylor with her newborn. Come on, ma'am.
exactly. Yeah. Oh God. Well, you know what? It's. I was gonna say I was gonna fear Pete calling me tonight, but he's probably already in bed. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's soap opera time for him, so he probably already took a shower watching the soap opera, and his wife tucking him in, more than likely.
What's he watched? The Short and the Restless? Maybe. Knee slapper. Sorry. Everybody keeps texting me, but it's okay. Pete, we do love you. I'm not sorry, but we do love you. We'll see you in a couple weeks. But I got to jump off of here. I got some helmets and cars back there calling my name, and I get back to work. And yeah, but had fun. Good to see everybody. Thanks out to Keister and everybody that keeps our sport going.
Absolutely. All right, Jerron, have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon, pal.
All right, we'll see you, buddy. See
All
you
right.
guys.
All right, everybody, have a great evening. If you are racing this coming weekend, please drive carefully. Good luck. Have fun. We'll be back next Monday night at 7 o'clock. See you.